stuff.
Yeah, he is. Hello, everyone. We are talking amongst ourselves, and yes, just how the way it is. We're here live, and so far there is 4 of us. We've heard from a number of others who were just detained, other things. I want to say happy birthday, Al, wherever you are. Hope you're having fun. Cheesesteak 22, I did not get your email, so please send me that. And Brandy as well. There was some emails I did not have, and if you wish to participate, let me know, and we'll get you pulled in. So yeah, this is a fun day. Welcome, everyone. This is meeting with the moderators. I hope to be bringing more in. These are the 3 that you see very often to what would be I feel like I'm Hollywood Squares. Brian is to the left of me, Lunsford, you've seen him. David from Wales, down below me to the right, is here. And we have Julianne from Queensland, way down under. Welcome. Thank you, moderators. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Very good. Really
Excellent.
Glad to be here.
Well, I am happy about this. I see y'all all the time, and it's kind of like I don't know. You develop an idea of what you see by people when they write, and then when you see them, you go, "Hey, I was pretty accurate on that."
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you folks are just absolutely beautiful souls. So I think it's cool. So we'll start with the ladies first. I always like to find out how you got here, what brought you here. And Julie, let's just start with you and welcome. You and I have been emailing back and forth for quite some time. I became very intrigued with your ability in deciphering language and showing how it's really a spell language. And from there is how you and I got to know each other. And so welcome. Tell the world a little about yourself.
Well, everybody, I started undoing the spell probably at least 8 years ago. I was listening to Will I Am from the Black Eyed Peas, and of course his name is Will I Am. And also there was other ways I was looking at it too. So I was writing poetry because I've written a poetry book, and the first word I pulled apart was potential, which is potent. I'm all of it. So we are all of that, and I put an extra L on anything that's got I-A-L on the end of it, because we stand upon 2 L's, which are our legs. That's our foundation, found at ions. So anything that's got I-O-N on the end of it, I am on, I am here, and he and her are here. If you pull here apart, we're in that as well. So I just started pulling every word apart, and then I looked in mythology as well. And Mithridates, which Mithra is the word for antidote. And when you pull Mithridates apart, it's myth, rid, at, I, us. So get rid of the myth, because we are it.
Ooh, I like that. You see, folks, this is what I mean. A question, Julie, how did you come upon this? I mean, your knowledge is, I haven't seen it in many, and particularly the way that you write, it shows that it's very well founded in you.
Well, my grandmother, as you know, taught me the alphabet backwards, so I can recite that. And through that, I look at things from a lot of different angles. And I've been journaling for quite some time when you go through your changes in your life and you look at things differently. So this is one of my journals here that's way back in 2009. So this is like in ancient times, they call your journal like the Book of Shadows. So once you've written it down, you've really created it. So it's just full of, information. And I now look at it and see that I've actually created a lot of that. And I used to be in sales, and I went along to those rah-rah happy festival things that motivate you. And I I said to the owner I was going to be number one, and I was aiming for Australia, and I put it on the shower, which is the shower, because when you're in the shower, you get a lot of that water because you're a conduit. You receive all of that information coming through those particles. So I wrote on the shower that I was going to be number one, and I become number one in the world for sales within 6 months. So it was, and I thanked my sisters because they always used to say, oh, you're number one in Dad's eyes. So when I become number one, I said, thanks for telling me that all my life. And so it just started by just looking at, I even looked back further when I was looking at words probably then, but it didn't really start till 2012. But the journaling, motivation, writing it down, I read a lot of, what do you call them, metaphysical books. I didn't read much fiction. I just got into reading those sort of things, and I knew that it was in us. I used to have meditation groups here, and then I thought, no, I don't need that anymore. I just get information in the garden, because first thing in the morning I go out and have a herb pick. I go through my garden, and all the information stored in those leaves, and you're actually ingesting that because of your land. You're connected to that, because I am on old Aboriginal land. We have the Aboriginal birthing pools at the end of my road. So I used to lay on the grass, and that's where I got a lot of my information. So I think it's a lot of old language. That's how that's how it started. It's just laying on the grass and connecting with Mother Earth. And that's what we really require, to walk on the grass with our feet bare. And she'll give you everything you require. And I spell require as RECHOIR because I re-sing. I don't need or want anything. I just require it. So when you're asking for it, you're singing, like you sing to your supper. And so,
outstanding.
Yeah, I have an art shop that I'm a volunteer. I've been volunteering in our community since I sold my business for about 18 years. And as I showed you some of the photos possibly, and all the things I've done as characters, dressed up in character and reciting poetry. And this is the new direction now. Is really going out to the world, probably to show them that we are under a spell. I know a lot of you guys say it's the God spell. Well, I call it, I just pull gospel apart, and it's go spell. It's
go
telling
spells.
You just go and spell everything, because English language has been put together as a spell, because in the dark ages, no one could read or write. And I said to my husband, I said, I don't think there should be any E's on the end of these words. And so one night, our spirit, or whoever you want to, wakes you up in the middle of the night, and we put the radio on, and there's a linguistics expert, and she said there were no E's on the end of the English language 300 years ago. It's because when they used to typeset, they put an E on the end of every end of the line to fill the line in. So that's how E's got on the end of all the words.
Interesting.
And there were no G's that long ago too. So if you take the G away from the in, or the in, it's dance in and sing in and laugh in and play in. So it's all inside of us. There's nothing outside. It's all in here.
Outstanding. We're going to have you on, because wow, I am blown away. Julie, that is amazing. And my mind is rejoicing in what I hear.
Can I just say one more thing till the boys have their chat? Because I do like to chat, obviously. I'm a storyteller. So everybody in the chat room, if you don't believe it, that's your belief. You're able to do that. We're all on a different path. But I show you how freeing it is when you undo the spell. And Freemason, if you pull that word apart, it's free, ma son, or free, mother is on. right? When you pull that word apart. So we are free because it's what you think. Well, yesterday on the radio, which was so synchronicity after watching your show, they were talking about the moon landing. Anyway, I started singing, calling occupants of interplanetary craft, calling occupants of interplanetary, most extraordinary. Anyway, the girl comes on the radio and a woman from Gympie called Julie, and it wasn't me because I'm laying in bed next to my husband, asked for that song on the radio.
Oh.
And that song is about connecting with the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how quick and synchronicity, that happened instantly. So whatever you think you create, abracadabra, I create as I speak, and wish is what I say happens.
Oof, girl. Back in my days in Pentecost time, we would say, I ain't going to shout you down. You're preaching good. Speaking of preaching good, we have Lois. Hello, Cajun Queen. How are you doing, my dear?
I am doing well. Thank you.
Hey, girl.
I just love your energy, Lois.
Hi, Lois.
Hey, girl.
Hi, Brian. Hey, David.
Hello.
Hey, sweetheart.
So how have you fared down in Louisiana, my dear?
Good.
Good?
It's hot, but it's good.
Yeah, it is hot. It is hot.
It's hot next door to you, girl.
I am excited to have the next person, Barry. David Barry. I got to tell you, Dave, I love your energy. And I have, you know, again, as we talked before we came on, most of the people I know is by what they write. And, you know, it's amazing when you actually get to meet them, you're going, you know, I knew they looked like that. So welcome, David. Now you're in Wales.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how in the world did you get here?
It's a bit of I don't know really where to start, to be honest. I've been having weird things happening to me all my life.
Okay. Well, you're in good company then.
Yeah, like just when I was a kid, I used to see rainbows and all sorts on my ceilings. I'd be floating. I'd be all sorts of things like that happening. I've had lots of metaphysical things happening around me all my life. You know, things like seeing my nan, she just passed away, and I saw her sitting in a chair. Been seeing spirits, things like that. I've just been experiencing a lot of strange things. Now, I always considered it odd that I was experiencing these things and nobody around me was. And if I discuss it with them, they would always be a bit like, don't know what you're talking about. So after years as a child, you learn to keep your mouth shut and just experience the things. And it's taken me to about the age of 40, 41 to really start looking into the things. So I don't know what happened to me. Something just clicked, and I knew there were mysteries in the world. I had this yearning inside me to figure out what they were. I'm sure now I'm in the field, I found out there's lots of people like that.
Hey, Kaz is here.
Hey, Kaz.
Hey, Kaz.
Hello.
So I just went out looking, just searching, seeking, trying to find as much information in any field as I could. You know, I found out about the esoteric side of things. You needed to know the basics so you could find out the information that they were teaching you. So I sort of learned the levels as you go up to discover there's sort of like your first level. You'll understand that, but then there's another couple of levels above that. When your knowledge and your gnosis increases, you gain more wisdom from the text. So I've been rereading old things as well. As you know, I sent you my digital library.
I tell you guys, and don't know, not to interrupt you, David, he is a prolific reader like the rest of us. So yes.
Well, the funny thing was, until my 41st birthday, I had only read one book, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer.
Well, good choice, but I mean,
in my entire life up until that point, I'd only read one book, millions of pages on the internet and what have you, but only one actual book cover to cover. And obviously since then, my God, I can't think how many I've covered. But like I say, it's all in the search of that knowledge to find out what the mysteries are out there. There's just so much I could say on those topics. I don't really know where to start, Wayne. As you know
I'm
yourself,
going to have you on. I'm going to plan on having each one of you on individually so we can get a little bit more into this. David, I got a question for you. Would you consider yourself a magician, a sorcerer in this path?
I've done a lot of education, shall we say.
Mhm.
I've had something inside me say, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. I've read the books that you're covering and many, many more besides. You know, I've done the Golden Dawn cover to cover. Many times. I've got as much information as I can from all the Hermetic teachings, wisdoms, magics, all the different schools out there, the Egyptian magics, everything, the Sumerian magic systems. I've studied them all, but I haven't actually ever practiced them. There's just something inside me says, wait your time. The time will be right. You know, things like, I think I sent you the book. I'm not sure. I think you may have actually put me onto it. The Sorcerer and the Quantum World. Just explain, I've recently read it. It has helped me understand how our actual thought waves create the manifestations through the quantum field. So as our thought waves go out, they never ever stop. And obviously they have the tiny interactions in the quantum world, and those tiny interactions then get bigger and bigger to create the manifestation that you want to achieve. Like it says in the principles of Hermeticism, everything is thought.
Yeah.
So my I don't have beliefs. I think we should just be. It's now a time of knowing. We're into the age of Aquarius. Now it's not a belief. It's now a time of knowing, and I have these feelings inside me, and something's just telling me that your thoughts can literally do anything, but we need to understand how to control the ether, or whatever name you want to put on it, with your thought pattern to create the manifestations that you need. We've lost something. I'm searching to find what it is we've lost.
Got to have you on, my friend. This is what we need.
Along the way, I'm trying to also create a cheat sheet for anybody who's never done this before, because I feel like I've gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour in the space of 2 years, shall we say. I feel that there are people out there that just aren't on the path, but if they're given a little nudge in the right direction, they can find the rest out for themselves, because it's got to be a knowing. You can't just be told what to read. It seems to me that your information's handed to you as you're going along. That's how it's happened to me. I get one book, then another book. It's all in a certain pattern. If I had that book before that one, I wouldn't understand it. It's really strange how it's happened. It's just really strange how it's happened. It's just given to me. I'm not going looking for it. These things are just handed to me. I'll go from one to another, to another, to another, to another. It's crazy.
I think we got two types of people that come here. Those that are seekers and those who are real unsure. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if I want this. Well, good. Kaz,
Hiya.
how are you now? You're in England, right?
I'm good, yeah, in England. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
Just finished work, literally.
Well, I don't know if you wanted more punishment, but welcome.
No, I love it. Thank you.
Well, Kaz, we've had you on before, and you're just a delightful guest. And so I guess with you and Lois, I'd like to probably ask, how are things going? Cass, I'll start with you. How are you doing?
Start with me. Things are as crazy as usual.
Awesome.
There's lots going on constantly.
The skies, are they getting a little strange out there?
It's getting a little strange, definitely.
Very hot.
I'm seeing things that shouldn't be here.
It is getting strange out there.
Crazy. It just makes me, I just get fascinated by it. I just want to understand it all, and I just end up talking to it, whatever it is that's around me, and say, so who are you then?
Are you getting responses?
I do, but I can't quite understand what they're saying.
Julie may
Because,
be able to help you.
Oh, it's in like tones, frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
That's good.
I can hear it clear as day, but it's different, just different tones and pitch. I've got to learn the musical language.
That's interesting.
I've been practicing with that lately, actually.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Well, Brian, you're going to be last, but Lois, how are you doing? I know last that we had you on was right before I think you got the soaking, or did you get the rain?
We got a little rain. It wasn't too bad.
Really? Excellent. Did you chase it away with a spell?
No, we need a little rain in between.
Well, you heard
Yeah.
the stories that you guys are in for the second Noah's flood. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I got a
So
surfboard.
You got to start.
Yeah, it can get pretty bad down here with the floods. Yeah.
Yeah. So
not
how
looking
are
forward
you
to
doing,
that.
my dear? Last we spoke, you had your godson who passed on to the other side. How have you been since then?
Doing pretty good. Everything's going pretty well.
Good.
Everybody took it pretty well, and we moving on.
Moving on. Yeah. Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I think that's what he would want. He has.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I want to share this with the group. Doing the dishes, I was meditating, and this thought came to me. I think we're all in for the surprise of our lives when we pass over. What I got the sense is that it's really going to be far out, folks. I think it's going to be beyond anything that we have imagined. And Brian, I can't think of a better segue to bring you in on that. How are you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you in a while. I know that your mother passed over, and for you and her, it was quite a journey, a bonding, wasn't it?
It was.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
It was mind blowing. First of all, well, the cancer, it got to the point where she was laying in the bed and the fluids are filling up, and of course we're administering pain meds and all this to her, and those aren't leaving her body. It's just her. So you could tell there's a lot of pain involved with that, even though we're trying to alleviate all this pain. So it started to fester in me. I told her, I said, just go, you can leave. But then I noticed that she was leaving her body. She's laying in the bed. I look at her, and then it's not her. And then if we had to clean her or move her or do anything, she would come back. And then we'd have a little interaction, and then she would leave again. So I started going into meditation, and the orbs that were around her and the house when all this was going on it was intense. You felt like some of these spirits, entities, beings we knew, or in others we felt like we didn't know. But when she left, she opened her eyes for a little bit. She started singing. We heard her humming, and then she opened her eyes. She looked around at everybody, closed her eyes, and just simply left. But when she did, I was able to go into meditation and kind of join her in a way, and holding her hand. And let me jump back. I'm kind of skipping ahead. When I went into meditation before she actually left her body, we walked through a garden together, and I would say this is in the astral plane. I didn't really have a name for it at the time, but it just felt like the level in between, a different frequency. And we walked through a garden that had every flower throughout the universe together. Mm-hmm. And when I was a child, we had gone to the San Diego Zoo, and these monkeys started this chant. I know how insane this sounds, but that same thing happened again from, when I was young and she'd taken me to the zoo. We walked through this garden, and she was actually younger than I was. She looked to be in her 20s in that form there. And then we just had this talk, this unconditional love. And we had some things happen within the family, throughout the years, that she just wanted to remind me of that unconditional thing and to stick with it. Mm. And it was just a real bonding time. So when she actually left, she moved through me. And when she got to the other side, in my meditation, what I visualized was her being embraced by all of us that are still here, because there is no time on that end. So we're there as well. And it was just a real experience to feel that.
Dad, hang on, I'm live.
I love
It's
me some
live,
Kaz.
folks. It's live. Oh
Hang
man,
on,
I tell
I've got to
you.
leave a minute. My mum's not
Okay,
well.
that's okay.
Bye.
Okay.
But it was just it was a beautiful experience, and since then I've started listening to tones. When I was younger, I marched something called drum corps back in the day, where it's all brass instruments and a drum line. So I have an ear for frequencies, different harmonies and stuff like that. And so I started picking a specific tone throughout the day. In the morning, a bass tone, usually 333 or 432. You pick that bass tone throughout the day. And when you have a bass tone in your head, you start to pick up other frequencies, higher or lower. I started being able to tune into the lower frequencies that are coming from these towers around here. And I know when they're cut on, and I know when they're cut off. And it seems like in the evening, they cut those things on. But you just start to pick up on those different frequencies within your head if you have a bass tone. Now, it must work differently for everybody. But for me, this is how it works. As long as I have that bass note or frequency in my head, I can start to pick up on other things. And this is something that I kind of got from Mom when I spoke with her. But for me, she hasn't died. She hasn't passed on. It's just
yes,
she's moved into she's part of it all. As we're part of it all now, there's a slight disconnect, but I just don't feel like she's passed on.
I got 1,000 questions. Anyone, Julie, anyone have a question? I mean, my mind is reeling on this because I think, Brian, you've really, I think you've portrayed what the eventuality for every person here is. And go ahead, David.
I should say I find that quite interesting because at the moment I'm caring for my mum. I'm up there every day and she's in the very final stages herself.
That's
and what
right.
Brian just explained, my mum's lying there and we'll be having a conversation. Then all of a sudden she's just gone. You see her eyes go. You can tell she's just gone. I can't see anything, but I know she's not there. Yeah. And then we'll have a conversation afterwards and she'll tell me she was somewhere really nice, somewhere really pretty, this kind of thing. And she's also seeing a lot of orbs herself around the house. I haven't seen any around the house. I've only
my mom told me, she says before, in the living room, she didn't say this a lot because of everybody else, but when we were alone, she said, Brian, people's faces keep changing. She said, you keep turning into light and then you turn off. You turn into light, you turn off. And as she goes, she says, I'm seeing other people walk around. I'm acknowledging them. She says, anytime, and this is the part about sigils that really blows my mind, is that if we had something like a cross on the wall, she said it would turn into a portal of sorts and start spinning.
Yeah, that's what sigils
she said it would. She says it's creating. She says, and I'm also seeing an edge to everything. It's like she was peeling back the layers of this reality and was able to see. But those different signs and symbols were turning into things.
It's actually seeing them for what they were.
Seeing them for what they were.
Seeing through
the energy of them, which is very real. But what she said, certain family members, their faces would go dark and it would be, I'm talking horns and stuff like that. She says there's dark things that are here. She goes, but I don't have any. I said, don't have any fear of those guys. Just smile at them.
Now, were these spirits that she was seeing, or was it the family members that were there?
She would see different spirits by themselves, angels, all around, kind of hovering over everything. And then she was seeing within individuals, like she said, I was turning into light and then I would come back. Our faces would augment. They would twist into a different face and then come back. So it's almost like different spirits are working within us for that moment or borrowing our energy is what I felt like. Then darker spirits sitting on the shoulder, of other individual family members kind of whispering. It was just it was amazing the way she described it.
Julie, you have anything you want to add to that? I am blown away on this.
Well, I was just going to talk about the tuning forks because my grandson's special needs and he doesn't like low tones. So I do have a set of tuning forks that he will have sit at his ears because he just doesn't like, or as from a baby, he couldn't have the mower, a mixer, a blender, any of that kind of tone or anything like that. And so I had these tuning forks and he would just sit there, and when I do energy work on his mother, he would just have the forks beside us and he'd put them to his ears and that. So we can have music on in the radio and he'll just say off because he's limited in a conversation, but he actually come up with the word noisy. So he only likes certain tones, and so when he was born, there was a slim chance that he would live. So I'd been learning energy work, and I'd go into the hospital when they said there was a slim chance that he would live, and they expected him to be in there probably 3 months, and I was doubting, as you do, what I was doing, if it worked or not. But having my hands on. I had him, he was out of hospital in 3 weeks, and the doctor said, "Are you got a medical background?" And I said, "No." So that confirmed that we've all got it in us, healing and all that sort of thing. So the tuning forks, though, is what I really thought that was a great idea with the pitch. I might try that with these ones that I've got now to see if I can resonate with that frequency myself.
Well, you've just opened up a whole line of thought here that I think it's something, and this is why I love gathering, because I think there's something fundamentally important. And thank you, Brian, for bringing this out. I think that I'm going to go order a tuning fork when I get off of here, because I know frequencies respond to certain parts of organs have different frequencies in which they respond to.
It's almost as if I'm wanting to work on a specific thing that day. I will pick the frequency, whether it be 333, 432, if I'm working on a base. And then I will wake up in the morning, gaze at the sun, have a specific crystal in hand that, kind of takes me in the direction that the one that my higher self say would pick. And I will go outside and listen to the sun and hold it and tune into that base frequency for the day. And anything outside of that, I seem to be picking up on instantly. If something veers off, you go, "Oh, what's that?" And then you can kind of examine that. It just seems like a little tool that I'm able to use to just be in wonderment of the world. Because this whole thing is just, I'm coming at it from like a childlike perspective, looking in the sky and going, "Oh, wow. Hi, giant," waving back at me. That's stuff like that. I love it. So it's just another thing for me to really embrace and enjoy about this.
Lois, you were going to say something?
Well, I know when my mother was getting ready to depart, I was working on her to release some things before she got ready to transition. And I know that she saw an angel, but then she started experiencing metaphysical things, moving around and everything. My mom was like a seer. She was very gifted. She just knew things. She could see things. She could tell you something and you could pretty much bet on it. Okay. My family was a little bit strange. Passed it on.
Well, you're in good company here.
Passed it on.
I know you.
You're just a sister from another mother. That's all I look at it.
She passed it on. I passed it on accidentally to my daughter, and she sees spirits. I see spirits. When I started this YouTube page, I was able to come across other people who had similar experiences, and so this is kind of where my journey started. And like-minded people. That's a lot of what my readings consist of, is coming across like-minded people so we can share, because it's kind of hard to go out there and tell people you see spirits. They're not gonna
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
I tell them anyway. I always let them know anyway. That way, you
Yeah.
know who your friends are. You know,
And,
Yeah,
I'd
you
like to
really
watch their
do.
response.
and I actually discovered
the
I
look.
could do healings. You know, by accident, I realized I could do healings. And it was somebody talking to me, and I started toning into them, and I started feeling their pain. And that's when I discovered I could do healings. And that's when I started on this journey of doing healings. And this became another focus point on my journey, is to come together as a collective and doing collective healings.
Yeah.
So this is also an important part of my journey, is to come together and do healings.
You know, I forgot to get Karen. And by the way, I want to say to the other moderators, you know, I apparently have lost your emails. Email me and we'll have a second round, because this is fascinating. Lois, I want to talk to you because you read the cards, and I have gotten a couple of emails that those who have that gifting, and I think we all could do it, but I think there's others that have energies that are specific to that. Have you noticed a difference? Is there a difference intensity to the readings you're doing? Or now I'll tell you specifically what someone wrote me. She said in the past, you know, it was like you were almost kind of reading the mirror of the individual in front. But she says there's a difference now. It's kind of getting much more intense. It's like you're seeing more of what so many people guard not to show.
I try not to.
Okay, I love it.
But see, my experiences started out as a child. I remember between 1 and 2 years old, something was visiting me as a child. So, you know, I don't know what happened. I don't know what my journey is supposed to be. I'm still, you know, searching. When I picked up the cards, and it was because of Jeff that I picked up the tarot. Because, you know, coming out of Christian, coming out of Christian, you know, I thought if I picked up a touch tarot, I would burn up.
My poor wife thought the same thing. Then I did it.
Yeah,
She's like, you didn't burn.
So, you know, listen to Jeff, following Jeff, and he kept saying get a divinity, and I finally picked up, you know, the cosmic
I love it.
cards, and I went from there. And now I can't put them down.
David, I have a question for you, because you and I, we read a lot of the same older books. Give me your assessment about what you've heard. And I think particularly when I think about a Franz, I think about a number of these other authors and what the panel here has experienced. What is your take on the knowledge that you've read? Because and again, I just want to say, isn't this odd? This is all a very recent occurrence for many of our lives. We've been involved with it, touched with it, but seems like we've just now embraced it.
How do you mean, Wayne? Do you mean like with reference to the energies that are going on? It seems to me like it's a transference of energies or something like that going on. I've tried, like with my wife, she's got a serious form of arthritis and knees always hurting her. When we first got together, we used to sit with her legs over my lap, and I used to sit there with my hand, just the palm of my hand over the top of her knee, not touching it, just almost over the top of it, about 2 millimeters, say, just above it. And my hand used to get so warm, and she'd start complaining that her knee was getting hot. So I was like, well, I don't know what's going on, but it's working. She'd always thank me, so I'd keep doing it. Now, through some of my studying, I've gone through the Tibetan stuff and a pain relief technique that they do. We put your first 3 fingers on your larynx, they do the Om 8 times, and administer the hand to the site of the pain. Takes the pain away. Now, I've tried doing this on my mother, and my hand feels like it's burning. It's one of the cancers is right on one of the vertebrae on her back, and that's the one that's troubling her the most. So every day I go there, I'm doing it, and I put my hand on her, and to me it feels like we're almost sucking that energy out or drawing it away. Maybe I don't know if we're actually taking it into ourselves, but I think the heat is the transference of the energy. So I think it's all to do with the energies within us flowing.
By the way, I come out of the Christian, you know, I think we probably, if you had, most of us have, but I come out of the sect that believed in healing, laying on of hands. And I've had that gift. Yeah, it's something I've had Yeah, I think once again, I think there's some of us who are just natural gifted healers.
That's it. I knew there was something going on, so I've just been trying to find out what it was I was doing. I haven't really found a definitive answer yet as to what it is, but the best I can get, like you say, through the magics and what have you, it seems to be some sort of transference of energies going on. I think, like I think of it like the film The Green Mile.
Mm-hmm.
He's sucking all the pain out of them, and then he spits all the flies out.
Yeah.
Now, I may be taking all this energy in. I feel terrible on the inside. I haven't seen my mum today because I've been feeling so bad. Now, I don't know if it's from doing this, or if it's the weather. It's like Africa over here at the moment. I've never experienced it.
It's Africa everywhere.
It's Africa.
Yeah, exactly. The roads are melting outside my house.
And Julie, now it's cold where you are, right?
Yes,
It
it is.
is, yeah.
Cold. Yes.
Oh,
We like 2 degrees, but we have Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So there's been frost on our grass.
Oh, I'm waiting. I really am. I'm waiting. You know, folks, so 2 things. The thing that I've gotten from this is that I think we need to focus more on healing. And I was going to have Karen on here, the Queen of Quartz. Yeah. But, you know, we're planning to do this group healing, and I think we're almost getting there. I mean, what's the sense, say the moderators?
Yeah, definitely. I like the idea of the crystal network.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea.
it's building, that's for sure.
How many have crystals? I mean, Karen is giving these out to everyone who asks. Julie, if you want any, just write to Karen and I'll give you an email.
Show real quick. Hold on.
Thank
My
you.
mum has a crystal, but I haven't received one yet. I'm getting a pendulum from her as well. She's carving for me.
Excellent.
I haven't had one of those crystals yet.
I've received this from her, so. And she actually sent this from my mother, but my mother passed before it arrived. So this is
Same crystal. That's the same one my mum's got.
Yeah. Now, Karen tells me that I apparently have the centerpiece of the network. I think something. So, yeah.
Master crystal. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I love how
Julie, you're smiling. What do you think about it? I see that big smile on your face.
Yeah, well, I've got this huge, big amethyst crystal my husband bought for me, like when I probably woke up a little bit back in 90s.
Sorry.
And it's like this. I'll show it one time if I get back on. But it's a huge. It looks like a shark's mouth, and it's just the most beautiful amethyst crystal. So I have them, but where we live, it's all jasper. It's red jasper. So it's actually supreme nurturer, and that's what the birthing pools are. We're all jasper. So crystals are an amazing thing, and my daughter is called Crystal.
Julie, you have the teaching, I guess, of the original people. I mean, you live in their sacred. I guess it's their land. I don't know how to put any terms, but how could you maybe give us some insights on how the Aboriginal see in the departure of the spirit?
Well, I'm only getting really into it more now because I've just been over to Stradbroke Island, which is off from Brisbane. My nephew's over there, and we've been communicating with his language because there's so many different languages within the one Aboriginal culture. But we're called the Cubby or the Cubby. It's KABI or it's GUBBI or something like that. The Butcher tribe of the Quandamooka, but it is similar in their language. But I've just asked him to break things down, and so BA on the end of any of the words we have means place. And when you look at the Hebrew letter B, it means house. So there is similarities, and a lot of the local Aboriginals often talk about Hebrew language as well. So, I mean, it's all connected no matter what it is. It's just that English was put together.
The Queen's sister, her and I are pen pals, and literally the Queen's sister, Mary, yes. And she... a couple of years ago sent me some really interesting documentation how the Egyptians and the Aboriginal people they knew each other. The Egyptians came to the Aboriginals because they knew that the original people, they knew that they had the source, the power.
Yeah, well, we've got a pyramid here in Gympie. It's been knocked around, and some of the stones are in front of the churches naturally, and artefacts that have been taken away and were hidden underneath the Catholic church floor, I think. And there's one big ape, they call it, which in some mythology, that's Thoth. So we have this in our museum. And I've been out to the pyramid a couple of times, and the first time I went to it, the guy said, "Oh, you just have to stay here a minute." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm feeling a bit sick." He said, "That's right. You've got to just wait for the energy to get used to it. But you're not allowed, they don't want you going there anymore because they're planning on putting a new highway over it."
Oh, no.
Difficult.
So there's been a bit of a crack up about it. But if you look at many, many angles, everybody that drives over it will be connected to the portal.
Yeah, right. Maybe a little dysfunctional if they don't know. And I was just thinking, Mary told me it was Khufu. There were actually 2 pharaohs, and the daughter of Khufu was pharaoh as well, and she was the one who actually, either the story is she was either murdered or due to a very strange shipwreck right there with the Aboriginal people.
Yeah, well, this story goes, and there's so many stories, but the gold from Gympie, because all gold holds DNA, and it's actually in Tutankhamun's grave, supposedly. So they do talk about, because I've got a geology map that shows you, the legend of how, Queensland used to be underwater at one stage, but you can see the distinct line. And I'd say they used to come right up to the shore, come to the shore. Wherever we sat back then, we could have been in the Northern Hemisphere. We could have been anywhere,
True.
So,
Yeah.
So anything's possible. Infinite possibilities. So
definite possibilities.
At all.
And by the way, I just want to invoke favor upon everyone. I forgot to do that. Just invoking favor, pulling it down from on high upon you. May there be nothing missing, nothing broken in your life. And there you go. That's what I'm talking about. And I think doesn't Shannon Kling have a birthday as well today? Is it Sharon? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is Shannon. So anyway, happy birthday to everyone who's having one of those. So I have yesterday in my magic circle, and Brian, I'm going to use that tuning fork. You've given me an idea, David. I'm thinking about this inside, once you make your magic circle. I mean, I hadn't thought about the tuning forks. Wow. That I think is powerful invocation.
Absolutely. It's a frequency.
Yeah.
Like color, it's just a perception. It's just another way to bring a frequency in, it's another way to harmonize what we're already doing.
Yeah. So I'll share something with everyone. I got this and I started doing this, and it's powerful. If it actually looks like this when you draw it out, let me just get it here for everybody. So it's like when you stand in your circle, you can actually just put this triangle down, and then you just simply raise your hands and you bring them back in. And I don't know what it does, but it's very interesting power. Y'all try it. Let me know what you think.
Have you got the pyramid now, Len?
Yeah, and literally, I was meditating, and you get this sense of how to start doing this, and I'm sure that's something ancient, I'm assuming, or if it isn't, well, then maybe we just pulled it down.
Cool.
So, Kaz, how are you doing there? I know you've been, just getting off work, and I think it's so good of you to step in on this.
No, my mum just got rushed to hospital.
Is she okay?
She's not well.
Do we just need...
She just had her blood test results back, and they've just told her to get there now. I don't know. We don't know what's wrong, but she can hardly walk. She's got no energy. She feels sick.
What's your mom's name?
Janet.
Janet. All right, everyone. I just want you to stop and just focus in. If you need to, if you can't see the name, just look at Kaz and think of her mom. And we're just going to send Janet healing energy, that warmth energy, and the energy that begins to invigorate the body, that begins to increase the stamina and the vitality of the body. And I just come against this this blood pressure thing. It's a curse, and Janet, we just send you good health. Got to stop this, folks. 2 of our people in our community were stolen from. Gary, he lost. He had a bag and goes into the store. Joe Sapien was scammed. Identity theft. We got to stop this, folks. I think we're more powerful than that. I think individually we need to empower every freaking person that's hearing our voice.
Yeah.
There's enough spirits, there's enough energy forces that that any thief that would ever come to think about it would be hit psychically with going, no, that if I touch that, I'm going to be cursed.
Yeah.
It's like those guys that did that to you that day, Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found out what happened there, huh?
Yeah. I bet that was, I can imagine the look on your face when he said that.
Someone told me, they said, when you pass over, they said, if there's angels or demons, they're both going to just let you go by. Don't mess with the dude.
Frequency's too high.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're male or female, in the perpetual. I think we're actually a blending of both, but, that's just my take. What say the ladies?
Whatever you think.
All right. So I have a question, Julie. I wanted to ask you, who awoke first, you or your husband?
He's still asleep, Wayne.
So he's just basically just living in what we call the normal world.
Yeah, but he comes along on the ride with me. He's born on Christmas Day, so he is already my little Jesus. And another story is I'm born on Mary Magdalene's birthday, so we're a perfect pair.
Wow.
Oh, my.
That's good.
That's great.
People say, how do you know you're born on her birthday? I go, well, how do you know that he was born on that day?
True. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's a story.
It is.
I love it.
David, and you, who's awake? Who was awake first?
Me, definitely. My wife switched on, but she's not awake yet. Though. I'm trying to wake her up, but she's too in the matrix. She doesn't want to come out, really.
Don't want to come out, yeah. Brian, what about you?
Well, my wife has recently Cara has recently she thought I was just losing my absolute mind for the longest time until the UFO actually showed up for her too. And then we started communicating and getting it to flash back. And she goes, oh, well, I'm so relieved.
I love it. Relief is good.
I'm like, well, so am I. Now we just communicate. Now she's working on this, power of positivity, and she's using all the different tools. So she's starting to dive into it, and she constantly says, this is just mind blowing. She goes, it's really hard for me to wrap my head around. And I just say, uncomplicate it. We complicate everything. Just uncomplicate it and listen to your inner and see what it says. And it makes things so much easier.
Couples, there's a great couple, Terry and Charlie. They're the ones who made me the sigil. I think it's so great when couples awake. I mean, my wife, Lynn, her attitude is, well, they lied to me about that. So she says, if they lied about it, then it must be some truth to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cass, what about you? How are you? Are you the only one awake in your family?
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No.
It's not. I've tried. I keep trying. I show them all my photos.
I love Cass, man. Love you, girl.
To my mum's, maybe it's me that's done that to my mum. I don't know. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
my dad,
I'd like
my
to
dad,
hang out with
my
Kaz
dad's
on a
just
Friday
not
night.
having it. My dad's just on another planet.
I bet. All right, Lois. How about you? I mean, in your family,
It's a little bit unique.
you're Lois. I've never asked you. So the rest of the family, are they? I mean, because you live in the South. I mean, you and Brian both. Y'all are in the Bible Belt. You know. So are they still pretty much into that mainstream thought?
No.
No,
No,
not at all.
Okay.
It's changing. The energies, the physics, everything is changing, it seems like. And there are people going, okay, you know. Even with my wife, before she would say, I want to get a tattoo and have a tarot reading, but I thought I was going to burn up. Now she's like guns on. She's ready to go. And I would say with neighbors around here, more and more are coming outside. And instead of saying, why are you always looking up? Now they're starting to look up. I would say the energies are changing for sure.
You know what changed with my neighbors? When I put the sigil in my front yard and mowed it in.
I drew them in chalk on my driveway.
I did my favor sigil, and I actually had the neighbor across the street knock on the door and says, "What the hell is that? Did you just forget to mow?" I said, "No, I think it looks like a good design." And he says, "I was just asking if you needed a lawnmower." Wake them up one way or another, right?
Sidewalk chalk works really well too.
Oh, I've laughed so much on this one. And Brian, thank you for sharing. I want you to come back. In fact, I want each of you to come back on individually. I think all of you have so much to share on this. And again, if I missed you on the moderators, let me know. We'll have part 2. So ending out on this, let's start with you, Kaz, and then Lois, and then Julie, David, and then Brian, and just kind of let people know, you know, if you have your YouTube channel, I didn't put it up, and I will, but whatever you want to say.
Cool. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel of my own. It's just Kaz Hawk. Just put that in and I'll come up and you'll see lots of crazy sky and other things, lots of orbs and energies, lots of energy on there recently. And yeah, keep your eyes on the sky, guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I showed the pictures yesterday I took of the sun. So I showed them to my wife and she says, "That's an eyeball." I mean, it looked like an eyeball, didn't it?
It was an eyeball.
It did look like an eyeball.
Yeah.
So, Lois, Miss Cajun Tarot Queen.
Yes, as usual, most of y'all know I do readings on my YouTube channel, and we do healings. And the next healing that's coming up is for June. That's my grandson who's getting ready to go through surgery again, to have additional surgery, to have on his leg. He's a double amputee. And the first surgery, he started having seizures. But this is why I want to do this healing, to protect him over this other surgery.
What date is that?
It's this month. I'm not sure exactly what date. I have to go with his mother.
All right, let me know.
And I'm thinking we're gonna do the healing this weekend. I'm not sure, either Saturday or Sunday. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, Cajun Queen of Tarot.
Folks, they all have their channels. I just didn't put it up there. Miss Julie?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel.
Yet.
Technology and me, I'm getting in the groove. But I'll just going to recite a poem, a short little poem to everybody. Be more, do less. Let go, express. Be you, no other. Find out, discover. Have fun. Lost. Have fun. I've just lost it because I slowed it down. Anyway, be more, do less. Let go, express. Be you, no other. Find out, discover. Have fun. Judge none. Open up. You've won.
Ooh, I like that.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, shakalaka.
I said, I won, man. Yeah,
I
see,
do have one poem.
I love this. I'm definitely going to get one of those. David Barry, my good friend.
Okay. I don't have a YouTube channel. I am on YouTube. If you search for me, David Berry 75. I've got thousands of videos stored on there. So if you ever want to get into searching, that's a good place to start. Just pop on there and have a look.
All right. I'd like to have that. We'll pass that around.
There's thousands on there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm telling you, you know what? We're not like the funny channels that have the millions of people views, because this is serious stuff, you know.
Yeah.
As the late Marlon Brando would say, this is serious stuff. Brian, you, sir.
Brian Lunsford's my YouTube channel, and I'd like to hold on to it. And then I'd like to speak on behalf of my brother Brian and say, be the frequency that you want to receive.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets better soon, right now.
Brian, go to the dentist. I mean, I hate them, but what do you do?
I will drive up to Tennessee and pull it out for you, brother, if you need me.
Yes.
Oh, has he got toothache?
Yes, he does. He was going to be on, and it did not work out so well. He says it's really hurting him. Julie, a lot of people are loving that poem. They really are.
That's a great poem.
The poem book is called "This Is Not the Front, Sit Over."
Excellent.
This is not.
Then you flip it and it's "Rose to Take You." So we're all rising.
How freaking cool is that?
So it's back to front, inside out.
I'm telling you, is this a community or what?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you
Lois,
so
I see
much.
that you were writing something. Oh, I love it. Well, all my good people, thank you. I tell you, you are like family to me. This community is growing because of you. You're here every time on, and I just find it an honor. Thank you for allowing me to share part of your journey. It's you're wonderful people.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
We're just going to speak favor over all the moderators and that special type of favor. And thank you guys. I mean, and gals. And who is this? Look at there.
This is Josephine. She wanted to say hello real quick.
Hi, Josephine. How are you?
He said, "Hi, how are you?" Say, "I'm good."
Josephine,
Yeah.
the whole world is seeing your face all around the world. Look at the eyes. I mean, this is what it's all about, folks. All right, folks, thank you. What a day. Y'all have you've made my day. I am healed. I'm walking on clouds, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, Wayne.
folks.
Have a good day.
Well, I will, and we'll see y'all back on Monday, on Sunday with Jeff Doherty. And Lois, I'm going to share that story with him. All right. Much love to everyone. Be good, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
See you.